Interesting matchup in the ACC SEC Challenge where we have Auburn playing host to NC State. Both teams coming in after up and down. Maybe that's even a little too nice. Up and down, an up and down feast week with NC State. You're not feeling great if you're a fan. Maybe I shouldn't rush to conclusions. You're a little disappointed, I should say. Maybe you're not mad, but you are disappointed. Look, NC State lost to Seton Hall by double digits, lost a close one, high paced game against Texas to end their trip out to Maui. Of course, sandwiched in between the two, they had the victory over Boise State. Meanwhile, Auburn, theirs is a little more up and down. They got blitzed by Michigan, like absolutely destroyed, taken behind the woodshed. However, that might just be because Michigan's like the greatest team we've seen in a decade plus or something. Like that's nothing to hang your hat on, and excuse me, nothing to hang your head about, I should say. And then they turned around, got a win over an erratic St. John's team that it's all offense, no defense. Really weird for a Patino team to say the same. However, that also might be what NC State's makeup is as they're coming into this game in Neville Coliseum. You look at NC State the last time they were out. I mentioned it with giving up 102 points to Texas. They sort of just hemorrhaged points from beyond the arc. Texas had 18 assists, 16 made threes, and the Wolfpack just haven't been able to provide much resistance. On one hand, it's been okay. They have the eighth best offense in the country per KenPom, and yet you got to get stops to beat high level opponents. They're still looking for their first power conference victory, and it's about to be December 3rd by the time this game happens. J Man, I will turn it over to you as a fellow ACC expert. What have you seen out of the pack so far? What do you think they need to change, especially in this matchup?
I mean, they can score the ball and they can't stop somebody scoring the ball. That is just what they are. It's crazy. But you would know best, Riley, that hey, if you play Vin Allen Lubin more than 28 minutes a game, as Will Wade pounded his chest and said it to win over the social media, you're going to give up a lot of points. Like he had 23 against Texas, but they scored 102. And I watched
Mhm.
this Texas Longhorn team against Duke first game of the season. I'm like, this team is never going to score over 100 points. And they scored 102, 55 points in the second half, 47 in the first half. And it's they just Will Wade is very good. He's a great salesman so far this season. I mean, he grabbed the microphone after they beat North Carolina Central and just said like the time has changed or whatever, and gave him a fist pump, and everybody was going crazy at NC State. And they're very good at beating bad teams. Like they have their first three games of the year, they destroyed bad teams. And UAB is pretty good. Like UAB is okay. They beat them by 24. But then VCU, they arguably should have lost that game at home against VCU. Then the Seton Hall game was a head scratcher to me. I did not see that coming. And then Boise, that was a little back and forth until the second half. And then
Mhm.
Texas. So that's a long-winded answer, dude. But like their offense is good. Their defense, I do not trust. They can go 1-3-1 like they tried to, and VCU almost beat them doing that. You can go 2-3, whatever, but they can't guard man to man, and that is a huge problem.
Yeah, even to that point, like I'm with you. This offense, when it's on, it's a ton of fun to watch. I mean, you got Darion Williams hitting step back threes. He's just a ridiculously fun player who is so versatile and has lived up to the hype and then some. Like he is very much looks the part of one of the two or three best available transfers who hit the portal this offseason. And yet you can poke some holes at it. Like they are they I don't want to be too negative because I know people always like, oh, you're just biased. I do. This state team is pretty fun to hate. I'll get ahead of that, J Man. It's pretty fun to hate Will Wade. I have relished the fact that they went 1-2 in Maui. That was fun for me. That being said, I'm just looking at the numbers here a little bit to take off the biased Carolina fan hat some and talk some about this NC State offense. So as of right now, only 22% of their field goal attempts have been at the rim, which is in the sixth percentile nationally. And I think even a stat like that bore out a little bit against Boise State, where you see NC State attempted 23 free throws and Boise State shot 32. Like to me, that just says one team was being more physical, one team was getting into the paint more than the other. And when you look at the makeup of this team, where you have aggressive guards like Kadir Copeland, you have someone who's a matchup nightmare in Darion Williams. You have someone for as much as I have like poked fun at him, slandered him, whatever you want to say with Vin Allen Lubin. Lubin can be really physical on the offensive glass. Lubin can bang in the paint. He got to the rim a ton down the stretch during his year at Carolina. I watched that up close and personal, and to just see like Boise State shoot almost double digits more free throws than you. A Mountain West team that lost to a D2 team, like that is a little bit concerning. They were giving up 26 points to Dylan Andrews, a UCLA cast off. And so it's again one of those games where, if Matthew Abel gets cooking and if they're getting like Paul McNeil on another heater, then yeah, they can go into Auburn and win this game. And thankfully for them, Auburn kind of plays similarly. Auburn loves to take threes, but I don't know. I think when you look at what someone like Keyshawn Hall can do, who's lived at the free throw line all year, going up against a team with some defensive struggles right now, that's probably the biggest question mark for me. Can you keep him off the line? Can you keep him out of the paint? Will Darion Williams rise to the occasion and check him, or is it going to be more of the same in what we saw in Maui?
Here's the main concern for me if I'm an NC State fan, and my main concern right now is Darion Williams, preseason AC Player of the Year. The last the Maui games, 4 fouls, fouled out, 1 and 2. Like if your best player who was supposed to be ACC Player of the Year via the preseason, if he can't be on the floor because he can't guard anybody and he's in foul trouble, and you're going against Auburn, who's athletic and is trying to go one-on-one, and you're hand checking, you're going to lose that game. You're going to lose all those games when your
Mhm.
best player is in foul trouble. And not only was he in foul trouble and fouled out in 2 of the 3 games, but 12 points against Seton Hall in a loss, 10 points against Texas in a loss. And if you have that, as a Duke fan, I know all about preseason AC Player of the Year things, and then they don't happen at the end of the year.
Hey, I've been
So,
on the receiving end of that as well. Shout out Luke May,
yes.
shout out Armando Bacot, shout out Garrison Brooks. We
And
we
now, yes, I was going to say,
shout out RJ Davis. We can all acknowledge our faults. Anyway, go ahead.
and so, as a Duke and UNC fan, we could talk about like there's the certain expectation to have as an ACC preseason player of the year. And so far, the first start of the year, Darion Williams was fantastic, 32 against UNCG, 28. NC State needed the 28 against VCU. Fantastic game. But the last 3, like he has to always have his A game for this Wolfpack team to reach their potential of what they're trying to be. And
Mhm.
they will not do that with him fouling out and or being in foul trouble when they go to Auburn.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I just go back to that matchup with Keyshawn Hall, who is a master at getting dudes into foul trouble. Like that is
Correct.
his whole MO. Is you look at his Twitter bio, he's the big guard. That dude wants to get downhill. He can hit threes. He's not overly reliant on them. Crashes the glass extremely hard and just understands the angles, has great body control, and knows how to get you biting on pump fakes and to just get you uncomfortable when you're guarding him. And yeah, this is one of those contests where you're going to need 35 minutes out of Darion Williams. And even though I really was impressed with what Van Allen Lubin did against Texas, like he was taking slower footed bigs off the bounce. I think if Auburn throws either of their either freshman big, whether it's Sway, Sebastian Williams Adams, or Emeka Okurum on him, he's gonna look for similar situations. And Wade is going to script something to where he can take those slower footed bigs. Philip Jovic as well. I think Lubin can find an advantage there. You got to put Keyshawn Murphy on him to sort of wall him out of the paint, keep him off of his spots. But even if Lubin does have a big game, like I just don't know if that's going to be enough with, you're not really knowing what you're going to get night in, night out from Trey Holloman. Holloman was brutal during Maui. And then with like McNeil and gosh, who am I forgetting? Not McNeil, Matthew Abel, just sort of having up and down starts of the year. I mean, Abel played 9 minutes against Texas. There might just be too much inconsistency in the backcourt right now. Maybe the inconsistency I say inconsistency is too harsh. Too much unpredictability in the backcourt, I would say, or volatility to not get like an A level Darion Williams game.
Yeah, and I love Paul McNeil. Paul McNeil is so fun. I know
He's sick, dude.
My NC State friends, that's their favorite player. Like they just loved watching play, and he's fun. But like you said, it's like volatile. Like he had 0 against VCU, then only 9 against Seton Hall, and then 10 against Boise. But he had 20 against Texas, and he had 27 against UNCG. He averaged 14 points a game with having a zero burger in the 6 or 7 games. Like
Right,
the guy
right.
can fill it up, and
Mhm.
so. I think this is honestly Paul McNeil. I think he's going to have a very nice game at Auburn. Like that environment, that pace screams that Paul McNeil is going to
Yeah.
shoot like 6 of 8 from 3. Like I can just close my eyes and picture him just hooping at Auburn.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's a good way to put it. And And even beyond that, like if it becomes a 3-point shootout and State's hitting, yeah, they can match. Where I do to go back into even the concerns, it comes down to defensively, where Dylan Andrews lit them up for five made threes. Jordan Pope hit seven against them. Tahad Pettiford has found his footing. He actually is alive. He was 8 for 19 from three in the players era. Not necessarily great, but he had a couple big outputs. I think he had 27 against St. John's, which like it's a far cry from when dude, he started out the year like 3 for 17 or something. It was something just like brutally bad. Like he's up to he's still shooting 27% from three on the year, but it was that was an improvement from where he was. He had a couple 1 for 7 games in there, and like
The
if they
last two, the last two, 4 of 6 and 3 for 8. So he's finding it. He's
Yeah,
finding it.
yeah, yeah, for sure. And so that's probably the biggest concern is I don't know, even like that Texas game, it just seemed like they completely controlled the tempo and were scooting by all of their guards who are supposedly hard nosed and defensive minded and just getting good looks. And so yeah, like kind of the story of Auburn's season is going to be you live it, you sort of go as Keyshawn Hall and Hot Pettiford go, but I just think with the aforementioned foul trouble of Darion Williams, the way that NC State was really susceptible to good guards in Maui, it bodes favorably for Auburn here. Do you have anything that would you push back on that at all? Or is there anything that you could see NC State doing or even changing defensively to maybe fix some of these issues?
I really don't. Like I just think Auburn has the right horses in every matchup in this game. And that really is not a knock on NC State. Like they are a good team. It's just
Mhm.
this Auburn team has shown me something this season more than NC State has, to where I can trust them. I mean, their 1 point loss against Houston 3 games after they almost lost to Bethune-Cook. I thought they were going to now win an SEC game going to overtime with Bethune-Cookman, and then they take Houston down to the wire and lose by one. And then, throw away the Michigan game. The Oregon game is a good win. We're going to look back at that when March Madness happens because Oregon always just gets to the Sweet 16 anyways. So that's a good win early on. And the St. John's win, like they're still uncertain, but that's a good bounce back win to have after you lose by 30 points the next day. You can pick yourself off the mat and win by 11 against St. John's.
For sure. I'm with you on that. The more I think about this, like we've made a lot of NC State's lack of defense. Auburn can't really guard anyone either. So like I think it's going to be a high scoring affair. It should be played in the 80s. Maybe we even see it get to the 90s. As good as Darion Williams has been, I just like that there's the potential of the two stars in this Auburn game. I like that they're really good on the offensive glass still, staple of Bruce Pearl teams that Steven has carried on. He can generate some extra possessions that way, get some step in threes off the kickouts. So that'll lead me to predict Auburn wins this one. I think it's like I'll go 89 to 82.
89-82.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I think that Auburn is actually going to have a better defense performance than you think. I don't know why. Outside of my Paul McNeil 6 threes that I said he's going to make on this show, I think. Good Lord, I'm going to say 84. I'm going to say, yeah, 84 to 76. 84-76. Auburn.
They'll lock in a little bit, force NC State into some tough shots.
Yep.
Yeah. Feels like a big spot for both. Like these teams just desperately need these wins at this point. You're running out of opportunities to prove yourself, but should be a good one. Of course, we'll be locked in to watch to break it all down for you afterwards. So stay tuned in to Sleepers Media YouTube channel.